Hello, welcome to the video of how to get your drawing into Illustrator. First, I just want to show you that most Illustrator projects, if you don't draw them straight in Illustrator, they have to have a drawing underneath, which is how we're actually going to make our zombie. So you notice here, this is my finished drawing, and I'm going to turn the template back on, which was my original drawing, and turn the rest of the layers off. You'll see here that this is my original drawing that I made. I took a nice picture of it or scanned it on a scanner, and now I have a digital version of it. So the first thing that you need to do is ask for a print size, letter size document and hit create. Once you have that created, then you're going to go to your layers palette. You're going to notice that you have layer 1 already on your document, but we want a template layer. So here's how we're going to do that. Go up to File and go to Place inside Illustrator. Then find your file. Usually it's on the desktop of your computer. And then what we want to do is we want to place it, but we're not going to do it yet because we need to have something checked on this place window. We want to make sure that the template box is checked when we do place this into our image. And then go ahead and hit place. What will happen is that it will make a template layer instead of a layer that you're going to work on. Notice the template layer is visible. You can change the visibility there, and it's locked. Locked is important. If you want to change the size of your image, you have to unlock it and then either shrink it down or make it bigger and then re-lock the layer. But it should come in locked to begin with. If you do have to change it, make sure that you re-lock the layer in that center locked area. Now what you can do is you can draw on top of this using layer 1. So I'm going to take my pen tool and I'm going to start tracing over the top of some of my areas. Remember that you have to make a closed shape in order to see it filled in. Now, at this point, you're noticing that the fill is automatically coming into the project. That can be a problem. So what you want to do is generally you want to have a black stroke and a no fill fill. So that's how that's going to look. Make sure that the red line is through the fill and you have a black stroke. Then what you want to do is you want to analyze your project. You want to say, okay, what's on the very background? What's behind something else? Because you want to start there. Notice that I started with this little piece of the shirt. I didn't have to start there. In fact, what I would probably do is start with the hands and the feet. Okay, so now I'm going to go down to this foot and start drawing on this. If you have something that is behind another object, you can actually overextend that object because you're going to be covering up some of it. So that's what I'm doing here. I started way above the pants, and then I'm just going to go around this foot very carefully using my pen tool. Straight lines, remember, are click and then click. If you want a rounded line, you have to click and drag and then move it to where you need it. I've had years of practice on this, so it's a little bit easier for me to do that. Make sure that when you do this, you're making that entire foot into a completed shape. One way to figure out how or where the completed shape is that the original point will be white. The rest of the points will be the color of the layer, and in this case it's blue. So at the corner of those points, they're going to be blue. And then to go back to the original, that will be an enclosed shape. So normally what I like to do is label my layers, so that way you don't get too confused, because you might have several paths. So this is going to be the foot layer, the feet. Then I'm probably going to make a hands layer, I'll make a body layer, and one for the head. That way you can do a little pre-organizing, and if you need to put something on top of something else, you can pick up that whole layer with all of those objects on it and rearrange it. I like to kind of organize my stuff that way so that if you do have to rearrange, it gets a little bit easier. So I'm going to color in this foot now, and it will be kind of a green. Just remember that you have to select your shape in order to color it in, and it just so happens that I have the color that I want in the pre-last color area. So you notice, and I'm doing this so that you can see it. This foot is on top of the template drawing, but you need to have it underneath the pants. So at this point, your layers are going to be organized in a certain way. So I'm going to go back to my original drawing and show you this. If my feet are below my body, it means that I have the body on top. So if I needed to, I could move this. Okay, so that's the body layer. What I could do is I could move my feet on top of the body layer by picking up the layer in the palette and dragging it on top. Now, you need to drag it so that it sort of has a blue line in between the layers. If it's a blue line on the layer, it means that you're putting it inside of that layer. So you don't want to do that. And so if you do have something on top of something else by accident, you can always pick it up and put it in, kind of down in the layers arrangement. Notice that I took the details layer here and I pulled it into the body layer. I probably wouldn't do this too much unless it's an accident that you made. I would actually try and keep as many layers in here as possible. That's what happens when you drag it over the top of the layer itself. So that's it. That is how to bring your project into Illustrator as a drawing and then draw on top of it.